Hello, Life Changers Church. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've got an amazing word for you, so get your pens and your notebooks ready because God wants to speak to you today. Enjoy.
Good morning. Contrary to what Brett said, I'm sweating like anything. It's nerve-wracking being up here. But yeah, as Brett said, I'm Hannah. I'm married to Jonathan. Some of you might know him as Jono. And the title of my Sevens talk today is God in the Waiting. And I'm going to dive right back in and take us to 2020. The year when most of us were consumed by the COVID pandemic. In our household, in early 2020, my husband started experiencing headaches and a pressure feeling in his head. Sorry. Fast forward many doctor's appointments, physio sessions, meetings with chiropractors and neurologists, and eventually in September 2020, he went for an MRI and was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer. The doctors said he had an incurable and inoperable tumor. And in that instant, our whole world fell apart. And oftentimes when we hear testimonies, it's when people have transitioned through a difficult time or have passed through the trauma. But I'm here today standing in the middle of our storm, living in the hardest days of our lives. And there are just 3 verses that I wanted to share with you that we cling on to in this season of waiting. We're waiting for the ultimate miracle of healing, and we're trusting for that. And my hope today is that you will take away the fact that no matter what mountain you might be facing or valley you might be in, the Lord is with you, and He has got you. And so the first verse I wanted to share was Exodus 14:14, and it says, "You only need to be still. The Lord will fight for you." And the context of this verse is the Israelites have fled from Egypt. They're in the wilderness, and they've just heard that the Egyptians are catching up with them. And they feel trapped, overwhelmed. There's no way out. They're like, God, what the heck are you doing? Why are we here? And oftentimes since that diagnosis, we've been like, what? God, what is this? Literally, I'm like, God, what is this? Why are we facing this? It's so overwhelming and can feel so hopeless at times. And on our journey, we've embraced every treatment from chemo and radiation and alternative therapies and changing our diet. And whilst all those things are so good, what I found was this fear just gripped my heart as I was striving to try and heal the cancer ourselves or try to make sure it doesn't grow, it doesn't change. And Jonathan actually shared this verse with me because I was like, how are you so chilled and so at peace? And he was like, the Lord is fighting for us. And since then, I often imagine God commanding the angel armies to just obliterate that tumor. And God doesn't just say you stand on the sideline stressing or being fearful while I sort this out. He's like, no, you rest. You be still because I am fighting for you. And that's where the power is. And letting go of fear and trusting Jesus is something we have to do daily, but it's what gets us through. And no matter what doctors say or what people say, it's the God of the universe who has the ultimate say on each of our stories. That's something we've got to cling to. The next verse is Isaiah 43, verse 2, and most of you will have known it. It says, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. When you pass through the rivers, I will not sweep over you. And when you walk through the fire, you will not be burnt. The flames will not set you ablaze. And in the Bible, water and fire are common images of extreme peril. Water because it overwhelms you, and fire because it consumes. And I remember one day, Jonathan was in hospital, and my mom and I were crying and praying, and my mom just started saying to the Lord, the fire is too hot. We feel like we're getting burnt, and you need to turn it down. And it was just such an amazing picture of us holding on to the promises of God, where He says, yes, you're going to go through the fire. That's going to be hard, but I will protect you, and you will not be burnt. And through this journey, I found that Jesus can handle all our doubt, all our fears, all our worries. He can take them and He can do something with them. And giving them over to Him, slowly but surely, does bring that peace and that strength. Sometimes in the moment, sometimes it takes a little while. But I just wanted to say that whatever fire you might be facing or water that might be overwhelming you, Jesus promises to protect us and see us through. And then the last verse is Romans 8, verse 28, and it says, And we know that in all things, not some things, all things, God works for the good of those who love him. And there's a song by United Pursuit that says, I give it all to you, God, trusting that you'll make something beautiful out of me. And day by day, hour by hour, sometimes minute by minute, we have to give over this cancer to God. Give over our dreams for a family, our dreams for our future, and trust that he is going to make something beautiful out of it, because that's what he says he will do. And just again, an encouragement for all of you to lay down those things at his feet, because over this season, we've also seen so many miracles of the tumor shrinking and of Jonathan growing in strength. And it's when we give things to God and we watch him work, our faith grows, because he will pull through. He will save us. 1 minute left. Okay, I'm closing now. I don't know, obviously we're all on different journeys, and there might be some people today who are on the mountaintops and are feeling Jesus' blessing and favor on their lives and such joy, and that's amazing. And what I would encourage you to do if you feel that faith is to pray for the people who are struggling or in limbo or are waiting on the Lord, and let them know. Early on, just after Jonathan was diagnosed, our childhood pastor reached out to us just by a message, and he said, hey, Hannah, I'm praying, and when your faith is small, my faith is big enough for you. And the comfort that that provided us, because I didn't realize at the time, but there are many days where I'm like, Lord, I'm like a stuck record here. The same prayers coming up to you, and I'm tired of praying it. And I remember so many times I've messaged our pastor just saying, please pray, my faith is small. And so that's also, I guess, tying back to what we've heard about the church. That's the beauty about being a part of a community. We don't have to carry our burdens by ourselves. When it's too big or our faith is too small, that's when we can reach out to the people in this room and in our life group and in our family to lift us up to Jesus. And so in closing, in Ephesians, I'm out of time. Okay, it says, God can do immeasurably more than we could ask or imagine. And so in our situation, we are declaring that he is going to kill that tumor once and for all. But for each of us, he can free us from heartache and pain and situations that don't feel like we can get through. And he can bring full restoration. He can deliver us from our challenges. And so cling to hope. Don't ever let go of it. And trust that the maker of the universe is fighting for you. He's sustaining you. He is strengthening you. And he is working for you. He has got you, and he will get you through. Thank you.
Well, we hope you were encouraged and inspired by that word today. If you would like to know more about what's happening in the life of the church, please check out our socials on Instagram and Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or check out our website, lifechanges.org.za. Enjoy your day.